Hi there, and welcome to this week's Muse. And as I continue from last week's beliefs and perceptions, I'm going to muse about emotions and depression this week because it feels and it seems as if depression is on the rise. And I actually have some questions over there. If you're interested in answering them, go right ahead. I would love it. So, when you're happy, you enjoy the music, but when you're sad, you understand the lyrics. Pablo Picasso. So if you are new to my musing show or just returning, have you liked and subscribed on What's Up Tonya Dee or rang the bell on YouTube and subscribed? Please share a show that amuses you the most. The reason being is because it lets me know what pathway is intriguing to you, and it lets me get on with creating a new and a different muse. So, one of the most important decisions that we make are the ones that rule our life and determine the outcome of our personal stories. And they're generally emotion-based. And coming to understand your emotions will make you better equipped to improve yourself and perform better in all aspects of your life. It actually helps stave off depression. So depression occurs for many reasons. So if you've been diagnosed with clinical depression, it's actually better to seek the advice of your doctor or even a therapist. But I also hope the ideas that I'm going to express through this musing show can serve as valuable supplements in your journey to wellness and well-being as well. So if have not been medically diagnosed but suspect that you might be depressed, or you're simply struggling with confusion over your emotions and the sadness because of it, you might just find that Mother Nature has some amazing answers for you. Either way, understanding your emotions and learning how to deal with and resolve conditions of depression will actually enable you to uplift your life and summon happiness and fulfillment as well. So, to lift and calm your mood, go ahead and if you have essential oils, get a roller bottle, or just a bottle of any type actually, and go ahead and blend 3 drops each of sandalwood, ylang-ylang, my favorite, cypress, bergamot, another favorite, and black pepper. And if you've been diagnosed with a liver dysfunction, you can also create a blend of 4 drops Roman chamomile, 3 drops geranium, 7 drops wild orange, and 4 drops of helichrysum, and 5 drops of rosemary. And after you do this blend, you can roll a big X on the right side of the center of your body over your liver with the first blend. And if you've been diagnosed with a liver condition, in addition to drawing a big X with the one blend, draw a circle with the second blend around the X. And do this protocol twice a day and drink a lot of water. And some affirmations you could say would be, I recognize what makes me feel better. I am able to understand and sort my feelings in positive and helpful ways. My emotions support me. My feelings support my best and highest good. Or I am safe to examine my feelings and put them in proper perspective. I express my feelings in a constructive and positive way. And more importantly, just simply be happy with your feelings. Now, Carl Jung, who I hope you've heard of, he is actually a pretty distinguished psychologist, and his work has influenced psychiatry, religion, along with literature for more than 70 plus years. And he said, emotion is the chief source of all becoming conscious. So, feelings are actually amazing and complex in their very nature, and they're unique to each person's individual experience. And nearly every emotion is common to each person on the planet. The emotion of fear, anger, sadness, frustration, resentment, terror, love, peace, joy, forgiveness, gratitude, and happiness. And we all experience each of these on one level or another throughout our lives. But the balance and the depth of these emotions is critical to living a happy and healthy, fulfilling life. So this, along with others like your emotional intelligence or your EI, is as important or even more important than your IQ. Because a person's EI is defined as the ability to identify, use, understand, and manage emotion. It encompasses the following 5 characteristics and ability. Self-awareness. Self-awareness, self-regulation, self-motivation, empathy, and social skills. Self-awareness is knowing your emotions and recognizing your feelings as they occur and the ability to discriminate between them. Where self-regulation is handling your feelings so they are relevant to your current situation and reacting appropriately. This is also great for mood management. Self-motivation is using your emotions to direct yourself towards a goal despite self-doubt, inertia, and impulsiveness. Where empathy is recognizing feelings and others and turning into their verbal and nonverbal cues, plus actually a lot more, because empathy comes in many forms. They are kinesthetic gifts. I'll get more into that later in next year's Musing show. Social skills is it managing relationships, that is handling interpersonal interaction, resolving conflicts, and negotiations. Where emotional literacy in the United States, this is a quote, and navigating our lives is it our fears and envies, our rages and depressions, our worries and anxieties that steer us day to day. Even the most academically brilliant among us are vulnerable to being undone by unruly emotions. The price we pay for emotional illiteracy is in failed marriages and troubled families, its social and work lives, in deteriorating physical health and mental anguish, and as a society in tragedies such as killings, which is, all this is going on like natively anymore. Author Daniel Coleman actually wrote that. And he stated, the best remedy for battling emotional shortcomings is preventative medicine. So in other words, we need to place as much importance on teaching our children how to develop emotional skills as we do on teaching them academic skills. Before any of us can help our children master their EI, we need to have our own healthy EI too. And this means learning how to better understand our thoughts, our feelings, our underlying intentions, as well as being emotionally balanced and knowing how to direct emotional energy in positive ways. And all you behold, thou it appears. Without, it is within. William Blake, a poet. So becoming aware of your emotions is vitally important because your emotions guide you to know yourself and who you really are within. Self-awareness also helps you avoid the dangerous fallacy projecting your own emotions onto others. No one does that, right? So there are two emotions, love and fear. And all other feelings exist somewhere on the continuum between them. So love is what you are born with, and fear is actually a learned condition that individuals experience while living on the planet. So when a person chooses to love, positive emotions dominate the experience. It's emotions like gratitude, joy, peace, forgiveness, and so on, right? And they're able to manifest themselves even during the hardest of times. But when a person chooses to live in a state of fear, negative emotions reign, like anger, judgment, sadness, burdens, betrayal, control, and so on. But they tend to take over even when the situation warrants only mild discomfort. So knowing what you're feeling and why, and knowing how you're handling your feelings and channeling them in positive ways is actually key to mastering your thoughts and changing your entire body chemistry. And emotional awareness begins by simply deciding you want to understand yourself. And as you do this, you'll also receive the blessing of becoming more accepting of who you really are, and who you are, what you like, and what you need. And you're likely to find that you understand others and are more compassionate. And you'll also become more motivated to accomplish your goals, make better decisions, and just become a better communicator. And all of this will actually assist you to build a happier life, healthier relationships, which all come back around to support the lifestyle that you actually want to live. So, to balance mood swings and get some clarity, this is a yummy blend. So blend 4 drops of frankincense, lemon, and rosemary, and 3 drops each of lavender and white fir, and 2 drops each of fennel and rose, again in a nice yummy roller bottle. And roll it on and breathe in between your hands and inhale. You can also apply it to the bottoms of your feet, your lower back, and do this 3 to 4 times a day while focusing on these affirmations. I am more balanced and healthy in all aspects of my world today. I am willing to allow myself to be human and imperfect without chronic criticism. I joyfully declare what makes me happy, and I take steps towards living a joyful, everyday life. So, also, so you know, once my website's up and running again, I'm going to create a blog post with these blends on them, along with these different affirmations. And I'm sorry, this is going to be a kind of a long muse, so hopefully you bear with me and tune in till the end. So dealing with depression, you have to realize millions of Americans are affected by depression every year, and almost everyone feels depressed from time to time. There's even circumstances in our lives that create what we call a situational depression. It could be death, the loss of a job, illnesses, and so on. Generally, this passes after a relatively short of time. However, if clinical depression lingers, it often lasting months or even years, it interferes with your daily life on many levels, whether it's your work, your parenting, relationships, sleep, school, appetite, I've been there, and so on. Situational depression can often lead into clinical depression, where clinical depression, so here are some symptoms of clinical depression, and they're also called major depression. But persistently sad or an irritable mood, pronounced changes in your sleep, appetite, and energy, difficulty thinking, concentrating, and remembering, physical slowing down or agitation, lack of interest, or even pleasure from activities that you once enjoyed, feelings of guilt, worthlessness, hopelessness, and emptiness, and recurrent thoughts of death or suicide, or persistent physical symptoms that don't respond to treatment, such as headaches, digestive disorders, and even chronic pain, just to add a few. So the National Alliance of Mental Illness actually recommends when several of those symptoms or depressive illnesses occur at the same time, last longer than 2 weeks, and interfere with your ordinary functioning, professional treatment is actually needed. So diagnosing and treating mental health conditions involves many variables and differs from person to person. Some people can use prescription drugs for help. Others need a combination of therapies. Some people find help from their therapists. Others rely on prescription drugs or a variety of modalities. I am one to seek a more holistic approach through exercise and better eating. Regardless of any treatment plan, proper nutrition along with the use of essential oils can actually be very powerful and supportive. And you know I'm like an exercise girl. So, I'm going to suggest tools that can help a person suffering from short-term or situational depression, and they can also help assist with clinical depression, but that should never take place of a consulting or a licensed professional as well. And one more major thing to consider if you deal with depression is that today we know that our modern diet might be responsible for many cases of diagnosed depression, along with other mental health disorders. So food allergies have the common potential to upset our hormone levels and other key chemicals in our brains, resulting in symptoms ranging from depression to even schizophrenia. So food allergies can also create inflammation in the body. A common occurrence is depressed individuals, even if food allergies are not primarily responsible for a mental health condition. They certainly can actually aggravate it. Also, in case you didn't know, fungus candida can be a substantial contributor to mental health issues because candida is a microorganism in the yeast and fungi family. It gives off high levels of neurotoxins, and if someone normal to have small amounts of candida in our bodies, but under certain circumstances, candida invades the body and shows up in our organs and our tissues where it actually doesn't belong, like the liver and the kidneys. And once it becomes entrenched in the body, yeast itself systematically shares certain chemicals that affect our cellular function. And these results can be serious, even long-lasting, ranging from various forms of diseases to cases of mood disorders, depression, and even anxiety. And depression is one of the top 3 symptoms of candida, in case you didn't know. And I'll actually probably do a blog post about this one, again, like I said, once my website's up. So, to release grief, blend 25 drops of bergamot, my favorite, 15 drops Roman chamomile, 7 drops of cypress, and 6 drops of marjoram in a glass vial. And you can pour 5 to 7 drops of this blend into a diffuser and run it for about 15 minutes when you're at home or even at work. And some great affirmations for this blend are, I understand that grief is natural and that I'm letting it flow through me as appropriate. Or focusing on a future of love and acceptance. And I know that it's okay to feel my feelings. A lot of people don't like to feel their feelings. They hide them underneath a rug, underneath a pill, blanket. That's that whole onion getting veiled thing. So, tools to combat depression and other mental health disorders. First, consider setting realistic goals for yourself because overdoing it can actually cause stress, which can only make things worse. It's also it's always good to get reward for yourself for even the smallest of accomplishments. So when you focus on what you can and have accomplished rather than on what you didn't or can't accomplish, you set yourself up for both happier and healthier living styles. Second, find a support system to help lift the fog of your depression. This may feel counterintuitive at first because depression makes its sufferers instinctively want to walk away from others, hide and shut down, and resist the instinct and reach out instead. It's an important part of our recovery process, actually. Third, exercise. You know I'm an exercise girl. So whenever you can and however you're able to move your body into positive motion. So you're up to running, go ahead and do it. If a brisk walk is better, then try it. Swimming might be your thing as well, or even yoga. However you can start exercise, start doing it right away. But don't forget the first piece, like set a realistic goal. Regular exercise and a link for repairs is physically, mentally, and emotionally to function better in our relationships with others. It also helps us to feel and look better. Doctors recommend it for a variety of reasons, including both its physical and psychological benefits. And there's amazing evidence today that exercise slows down the effects of aging and builds our body's defenses against disease and emotional stress. But whatever it is, find the exercise that you love to do. Fourth, be sure to sleep. Because without a good night's sleep, the risk of developing a mood disorder actually goes straight up. Lack of sleep can be the root cause of a variety of mental health disorders. So sleep is essential for balancing our brain chemistry, particularly melatonin and our serotonin levels, which they work synergistically to keep this feeling of resting and happy. And the body naturally produces the melatonin after the sun goes down in the evening. But late use of electronics where there's light behind a screen will actually slow down your body's natural production of melatonin. And because of this, those of us who struggle to sleep, really anyone who wants to sleep well, should actually avoid viewing any form of electronics after 9 p.m. You actually shouldn't have a TV in your bedroom as well. So Too little sleep leaves our body drowsy and unable to concentrate the next day. And it's necessary for our nervous system to work properly because it also leads to impaired memory and physical performance and reduced ability to carry out our math calculations. So if becoming sleep deprived continues, hallucinations and mood swings can often develop. And some experts actually believe sleep gives neurons used while we're awake a chance to actually shut down and repair themselves. So without sleep, neurons might become so depleted in energy or polluted with byproducts of normal cellular activities that they begin to malfunction on their own. Sleep might also give the brain a chance to exercise important neural connections that might otherwise deteriorate from lack of activity all in themselves. So, to help you sleep at night, I love to place lavender on my pillow at night or on the insides of your forearms, and you can even massage it on your earlobes as well. Other essential oils to help sleep are Balance, Vetiver, mixed with a citrus oil or Serenity. You can apply it to your throat, your neck, your ears, even on the back of your knees if you want, or the bottoms of your feet. And for people who have bad dreams or struggle, apply vetiver and myrrh across the top of your chest. Those two together are amazing. And fifth, drink more water. We all need to be drinking more water and less of the many other liquids that we often like to consume, because the body is primarily made of water and the brain especially needs plenty of water to work efficiently. It's actually a bit funny that we know our cars don't run without gas, but we forget that our bodies won't run well either without certain amazing contributors like better nutrition and hydration, extra water. But here's an example of how drinking water communicates health to every part of your body. So think about the last time you broke in a new pair of shoes and you ended up with a big old blister on the bottom of your foot or on your heel. Our body automatically, to compensate, adjust the way that you move your entire body to prevent the pain from shooting out of your foot, right? So did your whole leg start to ache after you're favoring the one leg after a few hours? Were you grumpy by the time you took your shoes off at the end of the day? Your body actually works the same way. It's just one element is out of place. The entire body actually adjusts to make up for that difference. So if the element of water, that element that makes over 60% of our bodies, and you know where this is going to be, right? It's going to be trouble. So hydrating the body aids in cell replacement, waste management, and proper brain functioning. So if you're low on your overall water intake, you're on your way to becoming more toxic, crabby, sluggish, and even incapable of setting and achieving those goals that you want to achieve. Nutrition. So nutrition and water, they're Mother Nature's tools 6 and 7 that come in. So 6, this is actually Lifelong Vitality Pack, and it's a combination of saturated nutrition. And it has a tremendous impact on your mood. Even though it wasn't necessarily created as a mood management supplement program, it's become one of the very best products on the market to help people feel more balanced and actually mentally clear. So when you add a pack to a healthy diet, you'll be amazed at how much better you feel. Not just physically, you'll feel that too, but more importantly, emotionally. And this is due to the fact that our bodies are being fed saturated nutrition at a cellular level. Because our cells are like us. They need to eat, breathe, eliminate, and rest to function well. So nutrition is the fundamental factors in ourselves and our bodies for its ability to work correctly and even better. So, when people take prescription drugs for too long of a period of time, sometimes depression or mental health issues can even worsen. Because prescription drugs, they do a wonderful job for us at times, but the side effects can leave our bodies with debris that blocks these receptor sites and can create depression and even a mental fog. where the lifelong vitality pack goes powerfully into our bodies. It actually helps clear those receptor sites so that our bodies can be fed and begin functioning at an optimal capacity, and rapid healing can actually take place. It's important to work with your physician actually at all times when you're working with diagnosed conditions and when changing or altering doses of those medications, okay? I am not a doctor. I'm a holistic medium. Not the same thing. 7th, okay, regularly diffusing citrus oils. So one of the most powerful senses is the sense of smell. Scent actually imprints into our memory. Our limbic system of the brain sits right behind our nasal cavity. And the aromatic use of essential oils, particularly citrus, becomes a powerful way to reach and impact our brain function. And citrus oils are actually particularly amazing because they're fast and they're direct. And they leave themselves on debris and clear the junk out of our minds, all while enabling healthy cells to do their jobs better. They literally increase the neurotransmitter activity in our brain, making us feel happier and less stressed. They actually eliminate pathogens, keeping us healthy and vibrant as well. And the compounds of citrus oil are energizing and smart. They're also fantastic cleaners inside our body systems, and they improve mental clarity. Why do you think we have citrus oils in our cleaning supplies? So citrus oils are remarkable at clearing receptor sites in the brain and reducing stress. Just a simple deep breath and all natural citrus oil can help reduce anxiety and bring almost instant thoughts of joy and peace. For example, bergamot is both powerful, such as a loyal and positive neurotonic for the brain. Applying a mood matrix oil like elevation, citrus, balance, and serenity can also support you. Actually, any essential oil serves the body in some way emotionally, offering instant release and support. You just need to find the oil that actually resonates with you. So, if you're depressed, watch those negative thoughts and use your essential oils along with different protocols to help you create new ways of thinking about yourself, your life, and your environment. Perfectionism is actually a one-way ticket to a negative emotion. For a perfectionist, life becomes a one-way ticket to unhappiness, and the negative emotions actually take over, sometimes resulting in depression and an addiction. A perfectionist is someone who strives for flawlessness and high achievements. And what gets the perfectionist into trouble is this: the desire to be perfect turning into a focus on avoiding failure. And this negative focus can drag this person, the perfectionist, into an emotional puddle of misery. Trying to avoid failure is counterproductive in a world where we often learn best from the mistakes that we make. There's nothing wrong with a mistake, right? So a perfectionist learns early in life to gain the approval and the love from others by accomplishing or achieving. Consequently, the self-esteem of a perfectionist is based primarily on external standards. And this will actually leave a perfectionist to be vulnerable and sensitive to the opinions of the world around them. So in order to check themselves from criticism or ridicule, they work very hard to be perfect. Ultimately, this is how they perceive they get love. And since human beings are naturally most concerned about being loved, subconsciously they thirst after love as much as they desire food and water. And the perfectionist works very hard, actually exhaustingly hard, to be all things to all people, because gaining the approval of others doesn't bring us love and acceptance. So self-approval must provide that need. And a perfectionist can end up being miserable, processing all kinds of negative emotions like fear, sadness, guilt, shame, and even anger. So let go of those perfectionist feelings, I say. So for a perfectionist, fear of failure, fear of making mistakes, fear of disapproval, all or nothing thinking, which leads perfectionists to be out of balance and often lose perspective. An overemphasis on the shoulds, believing that others are easily successful but not them, and a lot of guilt and judgment actually. But There's a healthy side to perfectionism too. Psychologists group perfectionism into two categories: adaptive or healthy, and maladaptive or unhealthy. And the difference is healthy perfectionists aren't afraid of failure. They remain self-confident when high standards are set, even if they can't seem to keep going. Where maladaptive or unhealthy perfectionists live in a world of self-beat up, never feeling good enough, and rarely feeling happy with their accomplishments or even what they've done. So typically, they don't know who they are, and they are commonly lost to their own thoughts and their feelings, living in this world of should that are initiated by the opinions of others. Perfectionists live with a lot of guilt, personal sabotage, and shame, and they have little or no self-worth. And when other people provide any kind of feedback in their lives, they're never satisfied, and they don't know how to identify personal satisfaction. But to break from the patterns of perfectionism and self-sabotage and let go of any should that may have defined you, apply this Away blend. Combine 4 drops of cilantro and peppermint, 3 drops of lavender, wild orange, and put it all in a roller bottle. And apply right behind the ears and on the back of the neck, and focus on this little affirmation. I am comfortable with choosing to feel good all of the time. Just say that 3 or 4 times or randomly throughout the day. And I just love this quote from Nelson Mandela. So in judging our progress as individuals, we tend to concentrate on external factors such as one's social position, influence, and popularity, wealth, and standard of education. But internal factors may be even more crucial in assessing one's development as a human being. Honesty, sincerity, simplicity, humanity, generosity, absence of vanity, readiness to serve your fellow man, qualities within the reach of every human soul. So, dealing with anger. For every minute you're angry, you lose 60 seconds of happiness. Sorry about that. Ralph Waldo Emerson. And we all experience anger. And when anger is managed in healthy ways, it can be a good thing. It can be a catalyst for change and often motivates people to action. Poorly managed anger, like any other poorly managed emotion, can become raging fire with the power to burn down a house. And it's actually not surprising that anger easily has company. Its best friends are fear and sadness. And the roots of anger is found in other deeper feelings. That's actually why it's called a secondary emotion. Within the 5 elements, it's the wood. Anger and resentment live there. But a blend to diminish anger, again, my favorite, bergamot. 12 drops bergamot, 14 drops rosemary, 4 drops white fir, and 16 drops peppermint. Pour that into a diffuser, and here's a couple of affirmations. I'm learning to understand the root cause of my anger. I am making wise, healthy choices to sleep, heal, talk, and release my anger. I am happy with who I am, and I am replacing my anger with joy. So if you're dealing with anger, here's a few more tips. Understand your anger. It's always easier to deal with your emotions when you understand why you're really upset. And when stress builds or you are sleep deprived, starving, or sick, handling your emotion load becomes close to impossible, right? And losing your temper is actually often the resulting action. But if you figure out what led to the action and learn to express your anger constructively, talk with a trusted friend or your therapist about your anger, go to your basement closet and shout in it, write your thoughts in a journal, color out your feelings, even your ugliest thought forms. You can use crayons on paper, and that's amazingly helpful. You can always tear it up or burn it after, once you've released them on the paper. But remember the word constructively as you work to express your anger, because overthinking or overtalking can actually add fuel to the fire. So if you find yourself seeking for evidence to support your negative state, talking to rant instead of talking to heal, you aren't doing yourself any good. And going over and over facts repeatedly will actually add to your stress, potentially increasing your body's stress hormones, which are your cortisol levels, and negatively impacting your health. Women especially get involved in conversations that are basically complaint sessions that tend to travel in a downward spiral. So if you feel yourself heading in that direction, change the subject to a happy, healthy topic and consider finding a safe person who will support productive conversation instead. Exercise. Yeah, here we go again. Exercise cures many ailments. It's one of the best tools for managing anger. And when you're terribly upset or angry, head to a treadmill, take that brisk walk, take a jog, a swim, do a little yoga. They can all help release pent-up feelings inside your body and provide instant release. And your mood actually has a powerful effect on the world around you. So think about it. How easy is it for one grumpy child or parent to ruin an entire environment in a home? Can one enraged negative employee destroy the tone of an entire office? I'd have to say yes. And it's always true that one bad apple has the potential to ruin an entire barrel. That's why we each have a personal responsibility to choose happiness, not just for ourselves, but actually for the benefit of others. So, do you sometimes feel drained when you're in an environment with extraordinarily negative people? It's possible that what you're feeling might be more than just an emotional response. Their negativity just might be affecting you physically as well. So think of the benefit it is to you and others when you focus on positive, seeking out the good in everything you do, and filling your mind with uplifting thoughts and influencing those around you with positive thoughts and energy. When we are selfish, we think only about our personal needs. Selfish people are generally very unhappy. And for those who forget themselves in the service of others will actually find happiness. And when you feel grumpy or sad or just plain miserable, remember your personal responsibility to be happy and begin to serve others for healing your grumpy mood. And feel your responsibility to be happy by turning your negative tone into a positive influence. And that might appear easier said than done, and it probably is. I try to go there a lot. And when you are emotionally overloaded and you can't muster up the ability to put a smile on your face, forcing an instant change of mood isn't really realistic. But here's a few more tips for clearing your dark cloud and bringing in a powerful light. Apply breathe on your chest and visualize blowing out all your frustration, your fears, your anger, or whatever you're feeling into an imaginary balloon or even a bubble. And watch inside your mind as the balloon lifts up high into the sky, eventually exploding in the light of the sun. Or diffuse white fir essential oil. And as you write out your negative feelings in a journal, when you're done, go over your thoughts and record all that you've learned from your negative experience. Diffuse or apply lemon essential oil while you listen to beautiful, uplifting music. Or apply peppermint essential oil. Go out on a walk in nature, because you can also use TerraShield as well if you like. Also, make a list of your favorite things and be sure to include all that you're grateful for. And then pick 3 essential oils from the ones I've been going over and apply them to your forehead and your temples before you begin writing down your favorites. Like mine would be clary sage, eucalyptus, rose, rosemary, white fir, and wild orange, but bergamot, ylang ylang, those are also my favorites. So, thanks for joining me. I know this muse was hecka long, but that was a long muse, and thanks for sticking till the end. And may you uplift your emotions with the essence of nature and essential oils. I used doTERRA and the amazing Pediathers by Feed05, and you can get them on my website, or go ahead and message me for the link, because I'm getting that new nip and tuck. And last but not least, hopefully you can remember to visit the corridor of my Musing Club. I'm doing my cowrie shell divinations for a limited time for $60. Regularly, I charge $150. Soliciting solitude This is my onward journey for meditations. I have acts and stages to get you going, and I'll be updating and adding more meditations as time goes on. Super excited about that. And the balance of being. The balance of being, I actually cover all of these things that I've been musing about. I go in depth. There's workbooks, there's modules, there's videos, there's all kinds of great stuff in there. And as always, thanks for joining me, and I will see you next week.